First contact gone wrong. The sleek, silver vessel of the Galactic Exploration Corps hung silently in Earth's orbit, its advanced cloaking technology rendering it invisible to the primitive radar systems of the planet below. Inside, Commander Zix Era of the Andromeda Confederation stood before the ship's expansive view screen, her four eyes blinking in rapid succession as she took in the swirling blue and green orb. Fascinating, she chittered, her mandibles clicking softly. A Class M planet, teeming with life. And look there, artificial structures. We may have found another sentient species. Her second-in-command, Science Officer Krell, floated up beside her on a cushion of anti-gravity. His tentacles waved in excitement as he analyzed the incoming data. Indeed, Commander. I'm detecting radio waves, satellite communications, and primitive space vessels in low orbit. This species appears to be on the cusp of becoming spacefaring. Zixera's compound eyes sparkled with anticipation. In her centuries of exploration, she had encountered dozens of pre-spaceflight civilizations, but never one so close to achieving interstellar travel. It was a delicate and exciting time for any species. Prepare the first contact protocols, she ordered. We'll make our presence known gradually, as not to overwhelm them. Let's begin by decoding their primary languages and broadcasting a simple greeting. As the ship's AI worked to decipher Earth's languages, Zix Era felt a flutter of excitement in her thorax. First contact was always a momentous occasion, a time of joy and wonder as two civilizations reached out across the stars to embrace one another in peace and harmony. How wrong she was. The first sign that something was amiss came when they began monitoring the planet's information networks. Instead of the usual cultural broadcasts and scientific discussions they typically encountered, they found an overwhelming amount of content dedicated to conflict, violence, and warfare. Commander, Krell called out, his voice tinged with concern. I think you should see this. Zixera glided over to his station, where images of Earth's history flashed across the screen. Armies clashing on blood-soaked fields, cities reduced to rubble bombings, mushroom clouds blooming over barren wastelands. By the cosmic egg, Zixera gasped. What manner of beings are these? Before they could delve deeper into their research, alarms blared throughout the ship. Krell's tentacles flew over his console. Commander, we're being targeted by multiple weapon systems from the planet's surface. Zixera's antennae twitched in disbelief. Impossible. Our cloaking technology is impenetrable to. Her words were cut short as the ship rocked violently. Warning lights flashed, indicating a hull breach on the lower decks. How? Zixera demanded. How could they have detected us, let alone possessed weapons capable of damaging our ship? Krell's voice was grim as he reported, it appears they've reverse-engineered technology from crashed exploration vessels. Our own technology is being used against us. The irony was not lost on Zixera. The Galactic Exploration Corps' non-interference policy had backfired spectacularly. By leaving their damaged ships behind to protect pre-spaceflight civilizations from advanced technology, they had inadvertently armed one of the most warlike species they had ever encountered. Broadcast our peaceful intentions, Zix Era ordered. Tell them we mean no harm. But it was too late. The humans, paranoid and aggressive, saw only a potential threat in the alien ship suddenly revealed in their skies. Military forces around the globe mobilized, launching a barrage of missiles and energy weapons cobbled together from scavenged alien tech. The ship's defenses, caught off guard by the unexpected attack, struggled to repel the assault. Zix Era watched in horror as her crew, scientists and explorers all, scrambled to battle stations they had never expected to use. We must retreat, Krell shouted over the chaos. We're not equipped for this level of conflict. Zixera knew he was right, but the explorer in her rebelled against the idea of leaving without making contact. One last attempt, she insisted. Prepare the landing shuttle. I'll go down myself and try to reason with them. Krell's tentacles writhed in protest. Commander, it's too dangerous. These beings are unlike any we've encountered. They're savages, Zixera finished for him, her voice heavy with disappointment. But they're also on the brink of joining the galactic community. We have a responsibility to try. Despite Krell's objections, Zixera boarded the shuttle with a small team of diplomats and linguists. As they descended through Earth's atmosphere, she rehearsed the universal greeting of peace that had opened dialogues with countless civilizations before. The shuttle landed in an open field outside a major human city. As the dust settled, Zixera saw a group of humans approaching, encased in bulky protective suits and carrying what were unmistakably weapons. "Remember," she told her team, "no sudden movements. We are here in peace." The shuttle door opened, and Zixera stepped out, her upper limbs raised in what she hoped was a universal gesture of non-aggression. "Greetings, people of Earth," she began, the ship's translators converting her clicks and whistles into the local language. "We come as friends, seeking." Her words were drowned out by a deafening roar as human aircraft streaked overhead, unleashing a payload of bombs that turned the field into a raging inferno. Zixera watched in stunned silence as her shuttle, her only means of escape, was engulfed in flames. In the chaos that followed, she lost track of her team. Smoke and debris filled the air as human soldiers advanced, their weapons trained on the alien visitors. Zixera felt a sharp pain in her side and looked down to see a dark fluid oozing from a wound. She had been shot. As she fell to her knees, Zixera's mind struggled to comprehend the violence surrounding her. In all her years of exploration, she had never encountered a species so quick to attack, so eager to destroy that which they did not understand. Through the haze of pain and confusion, she saw a human soldier approaching, weapon raised. Zixera prepared herself for the end, her hearts heavy with the knowledge that this first contact had gone so terribly wrong. But then, something unexpected happened. Another human, this one smaller and unarmored, darted out from behind a scorched tree. It was a young female, Zixera realized, no more than a juvenile. The girl placed herself between Zixera and the soldier, arms outstretched. "Stop," the girl cried. "Can't you see she's hurt?" She said they came in peace. The soldier hesitated, his weapon wavering. "Stand aside, kid. That thing could be dangerous." "She's not a thing," the girl insisted. "She's a person from another world, and we're killing her." As Zixera's consciousness began to fade, she focused on the girl's face. There, amidst the smoke and fire of humanity's violent welcome, she saw something that rekindled a spark of hope. Compassion. The last thing Zixera heard before darkness took her was the girl's voice, pleading for understanding, for peace. It was a small act of kindness in a maelstrom of violence, but it was enough to make Zixera wonder if perhaps there was more to these humans than their weapons and wars. When Zixera awoke, she found herself in a sterile room, surrounded by strange machinery. Her wounds had been treated, though her limbs were restrained. A group of humans in white coats observed her from behind a transparent barrier, their faces a mix of fear and fascination. Over the next few days, as she drifted in and out of consciousness, Zixera pieced together what had happened. The girl's intervention had stayed the soldiers' hands long enough for cooler heads to prevail. Instead of killing the alien visitor, they had taken her captive for study and interrogation. Zixera answered their questions as best she could, always returning to her message of peace. But she could see the mistrust in their eyes, the tension in their postures. These humans lived in a constant state of readiness for war, even as they marveled at the possibilities of alien contact. Meanwhile, in orbit above, the battered exploration vessel limped away from Earth, carrying with it a warning that would soon spread throughout the galaxy. Beware the humans, for they find joy in war. As the ship disappeared into the depths of space, Earth's government scrambled to make sense of what had transpired. The brief, violent encounter had changed everything. Humanity now knew, without a doubt, that it was not alone in the universe. But instead of inspiring unity and wonder, this knowledge seemed to drive the human race into a frenzy of military preparation. Nations that had been on the brink of war now formed uneasy alliances, pooling their resources to build defenses against potential alien threats. And in a secret facility, deep underground, a wounded alien ambassador waited, hoping against hope that the spark of compassion she had seen in one human child might somehow outshine the fires of war that burned in the hearts of so many. The stage was set for a clash of civilizations, a meeting of two profoundly different ways of life. As news of the encounter spread throughout the galaxy, other alien races watched and waited, wondering what would become of the strange, violent species called humans, and whether they would bring their love of war to the stars. The Galactic Community Debates. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council hummed with nervous energy as representatives from 1,000 worlds gathered for an emergency session. The cavernous chamber, hewn from iridescent crystal mined from the core of a dying star, normally echoed with the harmonious debates of enlightened beings. Today, however, a palpable tension filled the air. At the center of the hall, a holographic projection of Earth slowly rotated, its blue oceans and green continents a deceptively peaceful sight. Around it, alien diplomats of every conceivable form, from gaseous beings swirling in containment fields to silicon-based life forms that looked more like sculptures than living creatures, argued in a cacophony of languages. High Counselor Genva, a being of pure energy contained within an ornate metallic shell, called the assembly to order. Her voice, transmitted directly into the minds of all present, cut through the din like a knife. "Esteemed colleagues," she began, her tone grave, "we face an unprecedented crisis. The exploration vessel Harmony of Worlds has returned from the planet designated Sol 3 with deeply troubling news. A new sentient species has been discovered, one that poses a unique threat to galactic peace." The hall fell silent as Genva recounted the disastrous first contact with humanity. As the tale unfolded, the unprovoked attack, the reverse-engineered weapons, the capture of Commander Zixera, gasps and murmurs of disbelief rippled through the audience. "How could such a species evolve?" demanded Xorlak, the tentacled representative of the Cephalon Collective. "Violence on this scale is antithetical to technological advancement." Villa, a crystalline being from the silicon world of Quartz Prime, chimed in. "Perhaps it is a result of their environment. We've seen aggression in species from high-gravity worlds before. But never to this extent," countered Grix, a hive-mind insectoid whose countless bodies spoke in perfect unison. "These humans seem to revel in conflict. It defies all logic." As the debate raged on, a small, unassuming figure made its way to the central podium. Professor Linar, chief cynobiologist of the Galactic Science Academy, cleared his throat, all three of them, to gain the assembly's attention. "If I may," he began, his voice soft but carrying a weight of authority that silenced the hall. "While the human's propensity for violence is indeed alarming, we must not overlook a crucial detail from Commander Zixera's report." With a wave of his hand, Linar brought up a new hologram, an image of a human child standing defiantly before an armed soldier, protecting the wounded Zixera. This act of compassion, performed in the heat of battle, suggests a duality in human nature that we would be remiss to ignore. Yes, they are capable of great violence, but also of great kindness. They are a paradox, and one that deserves further study before we take any drastic action. The hall erupted into fresh debate. Some counselors argued for immediate containment, proposing an energy barrier around the entire Sol system to prevent humanity from spreading its warlike ways to the stars. Others advocated for a preemptive strike, arguing that it was better to nip this threat in the bud before humans developed further. Amidst the clamor, a new voice rang out, ancient, wise, and tinged with sadness. The crowd parted to reveal Elder Moxera, one of the last surviving members of the long-lived Quan race. His wrinkled, pale blue skin and enormous, sorrowful eyes commanded instant respect. "My friends," he said, his voice quavering with age and emotion, I have seen civilizations rise and fall across the eons. I have witnessed species that seemed irredeemably violent learn the ways of peace, and I have seen peaceful races fall into the trap of war when threatened. He paused, letting his words sink in before continuing. These humans, they remind me of my own people, long ago. We too were once warriors, our history stained with the blood of countless conflicts. But we changed. We grew. And now we stand among the most peaceful races in the galaxy. The hall was silent now, all eyes and sensory organs fixed on the ancient being. I propose a third option, Elder Moxera said. Neither containment nor destruction, but observation and understanding. Let us study these humans, learn what drives them to war and what inspires them to peace. Only then can we make an informed decision about their place in our galactic community. High Counselor Genva considered the elder's words carefully. A wise proposal, but not without risk. Who would undertake such a dangerous mission? To everyone's surprise, Professor Linar stepped forward. I volunteer, he said, his three hearts pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. My expertise in xenobiology makes me uniquely qualified to study human behavior without detection. Genva nodded slowly. Very well. But you will not go alone. We shall assemble a small team of our best scientists and cultural experts. Your mission will be to observe humanity in secret, to learn all you can about their nature, their potential for both destruction and creation. As the details of the mission were hammered out, a new hologram appeared in the center of the hall, a live feed from the holding facility where Commander Zixera was being kept. The alien diplomat looked weary but unbroken, her 4 eyes blinking in the harsh light of her cell. Esteemed Council, she began, her voice slightly distorted by the vast distance. I urge you to approach the human situation with caution, but also with an open mind. Yes, they attacked us, but they also showed mercy. They are studying me even as we study them, asking questions about our worlds, our cultures, our ways of life. She paused, mandibles clicking thoughtfully. There is a hunger for knowledge in them, a curiosity that rivals their capacity for violence. If we can nurture that curiosity, if we can show them the wonders of the universe without awakening their fears, perhaps we can guide them toward a more peaceful path. The council members exchanged glances, a mix of hope and skepticism on their alien faces. Genva turned to Professor Linar and his newly assembled team. You have heard the arguments. You have seen the evidence. Your mission is now twofold. Observe the humans in secret, yes, but also find a way to make contact with those among them who might be receptive to peaceful exchange. The fate of Earth, and potentially our entire galactic peace, rests on your findings. As the emergency session drew to a close, the representatives filed out of the Grand Hall, their minds heavy with the weight of the decision they had made. Earth would be quarantined for now, but not abandoned. A small team of the galaxy's brightest minds would risk everything to understand this paradoxical species that found such joy in war, yet also showed flashes of profound compassion. Professor Linar and his team wasted no time in preparing for their mission. They pored over the scant data available on human physiology and culture, devising ways to disguise themselves and their technology from detection. Remember, Linar instructed his team as they boarded their cloaked research vessel, we are not to interfere under any circumstances. Our role is to observe, to understand. The humans must not know of our presence. As their ship slipped silently into hyperspace, bound for the Sol system, Linar couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. They were about to embark on the most dangerous and potentially most important mission in galactic history. Back on Earth, blissfully unaware of the cosmic debate their actions had sparked, humanity continued its chaotic dance of conflict and cooperation. Wars raged in some parts of the globe, while in others, scientists and diplomats worked tirelessly to forge a new era of international cooperation in the face of potential alien threats. In her holding cell, Commander Zixera watched and listened, slowly piecing together the complex tapestry of human society. She saw the stark contrasts, The soldiers who had attacked her ship now stood guard outside her door, eyeing her with a mix of fear and fascination. The scientists who studied her did so with an intensity that bordered on obsession, their questions ranging from the technical specifications of her ship to the philosophical underpinnings of her civilization. And then there was the child, the young girl who had saved her life on that chaotic day of first contact. Against all protocols, the girl had been allowed to visit Zix-Era, her wide-eyed curiosity and genuine kindness a balm to the alien's troubled soul. "Why do your people fight so much?" Zix-Era asked during one of these visits, her translator struggling to convey the complexity of the question. The girl, Maria, she had learned, furrowed her brow and thought. "I don't know," she admitted. "Grown-ups are always talking about protecting ourselves, about being strong. But I think maybe we fight because we're scared. Scared of each other, scared of being weak, scared of the unknown." Zix-Era's antenna twitched in surprise at the child's insight. "And you? Are you scared of me?" Maria smiled, reaching out to gently touch one of Zix-Era's clawed hands. "No, you're different, but that doesn't make you scary. It makes you interesting." As the girl's words echoed in her mind, Zix-Era felt a glimmer of hope. If this child could see past the differences, could approach the unknown with curiosity instead of fear, perhaps there was hope for humanity after all. Little did she know, high above the Earth's atmosphere, Professor Linar and his team were arriving, cloaked and undetected, ready to begin their study of this complex, confounding, and potentially universe-changing species known as humanity. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now hung in the balance, resting on the observations of a handful of alien scientists and the decisions of a distant council. Would humanity's warlike nature condemn them to isolation, or would their capacity for compassion and curiosity open the door to a new age of galactic cooperation? Only time would tell, and in the vast expanse of the cosmos, time was the one resource that was truly infinite. Cover human observation. The cloaked alien research vessel, christened the Silent Watcher, hung in low Earth orbit, its advanced stealth technology rendering it invisible to even the most sophisticated human tracking systems. Inside, Professor Linar and his team of xenobiologists, anthropologists, and linguists worked tirelessly, sifting through the vast amounts of data streaming in from their array of undetectable observation devices scattered across the planet. "Fascinating," murmured Dr. Zura, the team's chief anthropologist, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with excitement as she reviewed footage from a human military training exercise. "Their ability to coordinate complex maneuvers and operate advanced machinery is remarkable. Yet they use these skills primarily for simulating warfare." Professor Linar floated over to her station, his three eyes blinking in rapid succession as he absorbed the information. "Indeed. But remember, we must not judge too quickly. War games and military exercises could serve purposes beyond mere combat preparation." As if to underscore his point, another screen lit up, showing a group of human soldiers engaged in a rescue operation following a natural disaster. The same skills and equipment they had seen used in war games were now being employed to save lives and rebuild communities. "The duality of their nature continues to astound me," Linar mused. "Such capacity for destruction, yet also for compassion and cooperation." Over the weeks that followed, the alien research team delved deeper into the complexities of human society. They observed political debates, scientific conferences, religious ceremonies, and everyday interactions between individuals. The more they saw, the more they realized how little they truly understood. One day, as the team gathered for their daily briefing, Dr. Cax, the xenobiologist responsible for studying human physiology, made a startling announcement. "Colleagues, I believe I've discovered why humans seem so prone to conflict," he said, his tentacles waving excitedly. "Their bodies are constantly flooded with hormones and neurotransmitters that we've never seen in such concentrations in any other species. Adrenaline, testosterone, cortisol. These chemicals seem to prime them for aggression and rapid response to threats. But surely other species have stress responses, countered Dr. Zyra. Yes, but not like this, Cax insisted. The human brain appears to be hardwired for both aggression and empathy in a way we've never encountered before. It's as if they're constantly at war, not just with each other, but within themselves. This revelation sparked a heated debate among the team. Some argued that this biological predisposition towards aggression made humans too dangerous to be allowed into the galactic community. Others saw it as an evolutionary adaptation that could potentially be redirected towards more constructive ends. As the discussion raged on, Professor Linar's attention was drawn to a live feed from a human city. A crowd had gathered in a park, but instead of the violent protest he had half expected, he saw something altogether different. "Look," he said, silencing the debate. "What do you make of this?" The teen watched in fascination as humans of all ages and backgrounds came together in a massive collaborative art project. Giant canvases were spread out on the ground, and people were painting, singing, dancing, creating something beautiful together. "It's chaotic," Dr. Zira observed, "but also harmonious. How can they switch so quickly from conflict to cooperation?" "Perhaps," Linar mused, "it's not a switch at all. Perhaps this duality is always present, and circumstances merely bring one aspect or the other to the fore." As the days turned to weeks, and weeks to months, the research team's understanding of humanity grew, but so did their questions. They witnessed acts of incredible kindness and horrific cruelty, often within moments of each other. They saw humans work together to achieve monumental scientific breakthroughs, only to argue over how the knowledge should be used. One incident, in particular, stood out in Professor Linar's mind. They had been observing a tense standoff between two nations, their armies poised on either side of a contested border. Just as it seemed conflict was inevitable, news broke of a massive earthquake devastating a nearby region. In an instant, the potential combatants transformed into allies. Soldiers who had been aiming weapons at each other now worked side by side to rescue survivors and distribute aid. The border dispute was forgotten in the face of a greater challenge. "It's as if they need an enemy," Dr. Zira observed. "But that enemy doesn't always have to be another human. It can be a natural disaster, a disease, or even an abstract concept like poverty or injustice." "Yes," Linar agreed. "They seem to thrive on challenge, on struggle. Perhaps what we perceived as a love of war is actually a deep-seated need to test themselves, to push beyond their limits." As their mission approached its halfway point, the team prepared to send their preliminary findings back to the Galactic Council. But even as they compiled their report, events on Earth were unfolding that would force them to reconsider everything they thought they knew about humanity. It began with a series of unusual solar flares, far more powerful than anything Earth scientists had ever recorded. As the planet's magnetic field struggled to cope with the onslaught of cosmic radiation, global communications began to fail. The alien observers watched in tense silence as human civilization was suddenly thrust into chaos. Power grids failed, satellites fell from the sky, and the carefully maintained order of society began to crumble. "This is it," Dr. Cax said grimly. "This is where we'll see their true nature emerge. Without the constraints of their technology and social structures, they'll revert to their base, violent instincts." At first, it seemed Cax's prediction would prove true. Riots broke out in major cities as food and water became scarce. The alien team watched in horror as humans fought each other over dwindling resources, their earlier cooperation forgotten in the face of survival. But then, something unexpected happened. As the initial shock of the disaster wore off, pockets of cooperation began to emerge. Neighbors banded together to share what little they had. Communities organized to care for the sick and elderly. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly to restore communications and power. "Remarkable," Linar breathed, watching as a group of humans used the wreckage of their technology to build a rudimentary radio transmitter, re-establishing contact between isolated communities. They're adapting, working together despite the chaos. But look there, Zyra pointed out, indicating another screen where armed groups were seizing control of vital resources. The conflict hasn't disappeared. If anything, the stakes are higher now. True, Linnar conceded, but notice how even those resorting to violence justify it as necessary for survival, for protecting their own. It's not violence for its own sake. As Earth struggled to recover from the solar storm, the alien research team found themselves working around the clock, documenting the myriad ways humans responded to the crisis. They saw heroism and selfishness, cooperation and conflict, often within the same individuals as circumstances change. One scene, in particular, caught Professor Linnar's attention. A small group of humans had discovered one of their observation devices, a tiny insect-like drone that had been damaged in the solar flares. Instead of destroying it in fear or trying to weaponize it, they were attempting to repair it, marveling at its advanced technology. "Look at their faces," Linnar said to his team. "That's not the expression of beings who love war. That's curiosity, wonder, the desire to understand." As they watched, the humans successfully reactivated the drone. Instead of using it for personal gain, they immediately set it to work, helping search for survivors in collapsed buildings. "I think," Linnar said slowly, "we've been asking the wrong question all along. We've been so focused on why humans find joy in war that we've overlooked something crucial." "What's that?" Dr. Zira asked. "They don't find joy in war itself," Linnar explained. "They find joy in overcoming challenges, in pushing their limits. War is just one extreme expression of that drive. But so is art, science, exploration, all the things that make them unique." As the team pondered this revelation, an alert sounded from their communications array. A message was coming in from the Galactic Council, marked as urgent. The holographic form of High Counselor Genve appeared before them, her energy form crackling with concern. "Professor Linnar, we've received disturbing news. Our long-range sensors have detected a Krevnar battle fleet on a direct course for Earth." Linnar felt his 3 hearts skip a beat. The Krevnar were a warlike species that had been the scourge of the galaxy for millennia, held in check only by the combined might of the Galactic Alliance. If they had set their sights on Earth, they must have intercepted some of our transmissions about humanity, Genva continued. "They see humans as kindred spirits, or worse, as potential weapons to be used in their conquests. We have to warn the humans," Dr. Zira blurted out, forgetting for a moment their non-interference directive. "No," Genva said firmly. "The Council has decided. We cannot risk exposing ourselves or involving Earth in a galactic conflict. You are to maintain your observation post, but take no action. We will attempt to intercept the Krevnar before they reach the Sol system." As the transmission ended, a heavy silence fell over the research vessel. They all knew what this meant. If the Galactic Alliance failed to stop the Krevnar, Earth would face an enemy far beyond its capability to fight, with no idea of the true threat looming over them. Professor Linnar stared out at the blue planet below, his mind racing. Everything they had learned about humanity, their capacity for violence and peace, their adaptability, their drive to overcome challenges, was about to be put to the ultimate test. And he, along with his team, would be forced to watch it unfold, unable to intervene. As the gravity of the situation sank in, Linnar made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. "Prepare a message," he told his stun team. "We're going to warn them." "But the Council's orders," Dr. Cax began. "The Council isn't here," Linnar cut him off. "They haven't seen what we've seen. Humanity deserves a chance to face this threat on their own terms." As his team scrambled to compose a message that would be understood by Earth's leaders without causing global panic, Linnar gazed down at the planet that had become so much more than just a research subject. "Show us what you're capable of," he whispered. "Show the galaxy that your joy isn't in war, but in rising to meet the greatest challenge your species has ever faced." With a final command, the warning was sent, hurtling towards Earth's recovering communication systems. The die was cast. The fate of humanity, and perhaps the entire galaxy, now hung in the balance. The invasion begins. The message from Professor Linar's team hit Earth's recovering communications network like a bolt of lightning. At first, many dismissed it as a hoax or a glitch caused by the lingering effects of the solar storm. But as the data was analyzed and verified by the world's top scientists, the truth became unavoidable. Humanity was not alone in the universe, and it was about to face its greatest threat. World leaders gathered in an emergency summit, their faces grim as they grappled with the implications of the alien warning. The message had been clear. A hostile force known as the Krevnar was approaching Earth, intent on either conquest or destruction. In the United Nations Security Council chamber, heated debates rage. Some advocated for full global disclosure, arguing that humanity deserved to know the truth and unite in the face of this existential threat. Others cautioned against mass panic, pushing for a controlled release of information, while secretly preparing for war. Dr. Emily Chen, a brilliant physicist who had been at the forefront of reverse engineering the alien technology left behind from the first contact incident, stood before the assembled leaders. Her voice trembled slightly, but her resolve was iron. "Distinguished leaders," she began, "we don't have the luxury of time for debate. The Krevnar fleet will reach our solar system in less than 6 months. If we're to have any hope of survival, we must act now, and we must act together." As murmurs of agreement and dissent rippled through the chamber, a gruff voice cut through the noise. General Marcus Stone, a veteran of countless earthly conflicts, leaned forward in his seat. "With all due respect, Dr. Chen, what chance do we really have? These aliens crossed the gulf of space to get here. Our most advanced weapons are probably like slingshots to them." Chen's eyes flashed with determination. "That may be true, General. But we have 2 advantages they might not expect: the alien technology we've been studying in secret, and the sheer unpredictability of human ingenuity when our backs are against the wall." As the summit continued, a consensus began to emerge. The world would be told a version of the truth, that an alien threat had been detected, and that global cooperation was needed to prepare Earth's defenses. The full extent of the danger would be kept classified to prevent widespread panic, but every nation would be called upon to contribute to the war effort. What followed was the greatest mobilization in human history. Former enemies became allies, pooling resources and knowledge in a desperate race against time. Factories that once churned out consumer goods were retooled to produce advanced weaponry and defensive systems. The best scientific minds from every corner of the globe worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of the alien technology at their disposal. In orbit, the Silent Watcher continued its vigil. Professor Linar and his team watched in awe as humanity transformed itself in preparation for the coming storm. "It's incredible," Dr. Zira marveled, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with excitement. "Look at how quickly they've adapted to the news. They're not cowering in fear. They're rising to the challenge." Linar nodded, his 3 hearts swelling with a mixture of pride and apprehension. "Yes, but will it be enough? The Krevnar are unlike anything they've ever faced." As the months passed, Earth's defenses took shape. A network of orbital platforms bristling with weaponry formed a first line of defense. On the ground, massive energy shields were constructed around major cities, powered by newly developed fusion reactors. Every available spacecraft was retrofitted with the best weapons humanity could devise, creating a ragtag but determined fleet. But it wasn't just military preparations that occupied humanity. A new sense of global unity emerged, transcending old boundaries of nation, race, and creed. Art and music flourished as people sought to capture the essence of human spirit in the face of possible extinction. Scientists made breakthrough after breakthrough, spurred on by the pressing need and the influx of new ideas from global cooperation. Then, on a quiet Tuesday morning, alarms blared across every defense network on the planet. The Krevnar fleet had been detected entering the solar system. In the newly constructed Global Defense Headquarters, Dr. Chen stood beside General Stone, watching as holographic displays showed the approaching alien armada. The Krevnar ships were massive, dwarfing even the largest human vessels. "They're not even trying to hide their approach," Stone growled. "They're that confident." Chen's fingers flew over a control panel, bringing up detailed scans of the alien fleet. "Look at their energy readings. Our new sensors are picking up fluctuations in their shield harmonics. If we can exploit that." Her words were cut short as the first Krevnar ship entered weapons range. Without warning or attempt at communication, it opened fire on Earth's orbital defenses. The battle for humanity's survival had begun. What followed was a conflict unlike anything Earth had ever seen. The sky lit up with energy beams and explosions as human and Krevnar ships clashed in orbit. The aliens' technology was indeed far superior, but humanity's weapons, enhanced by reverse-engineered tech, proved more effective than anyone had dared hope. On the Silent Watcher, Professor Linar and his team watched the battle unfold with a mixture of horror and fascination. "We should help them," Dr. Cax insisted, his tentacles writhing in agitation. "Our ship's weapons could turn the tide." But Linar held firm. "No, this is their fight. We've already interfered more than we should have. Humanity must prove itself worthy of joining the galactic community on its own terms." As the battle raged on, it became clear that the Krevnar had underestimated their opponent. They had expected to find a primitive world ripe for conquest. Instead, they found a united planet armed with technology they thought had been safely contained by the Galactic Alliance. Human fighters darted between the lumbering Krevnar capital ships, exploiting weaknesses and sowing confusion. On the ground, when Krevnar landing craft managed to penetrate the orbital defenses, they were met with fierce resistance. Every inch of Earth was defended with a tenacity that shocked the invaders. In Paris, the Eiffel Tower was converted into a massive Tesla coil, sending arcs of lightning to fry Krevnar dropships. In the Amazon rainforest, indigenous tribes armed with nanotech-enhanced blowguns took down alien scout parties. Scientists in Antarctica used repurposed climate control technology to create localized ice storms, freezing Krevnar ground forces in their tracks. But the aliens were not easily defeated. Their numbers seemed endless, and for every ship destroyed, two more took its place. Earth's defenses were being whittled away, and even with their newfound unity and advanced technology, humanity found itself pushed to the brink. In a desperate gambit, Dr. Chen proposed a daring plan. "We've analyzed their communication patterns," she explained to the War Council. "They're all linked to a central command ship. If we can take it out, we might be able to throw their entire fleet into disarray." General Stone nodded grimly. "It's a good plan, but that ship will be the most heavily defended target in the system. How do we get to it?" A sly smile crossed Chen's face. "With a page from our own history. Remember the Trojan horse." What followed was the most audacious mission in human history. A team of elite soldiers and scientists, led by Dr. Chen herself, allowed themselves to be captured by a Krevnar patrol. Their ship, loaded with a payload of exotic particles developed from the alien tech, was brought aboard the Krevnar command vessel. As the alien ship's sensors probed the captured vessel, the particles activated, creating a cascading failure in the Krevnar's advanced systems. Alarms blared as the massive ship began to lose power and control. In the chaos that followed, Chen's team fought their way to the ship's core, planting devices that would transmit a virus through the Krevnar fleet's network. It was a desperate plan, relying on compatibility between human and Krevnar computer systems that they couldn't be certain existed. As the team battled their way back to their ship, suffering heavy losses, Chen input the final command sequence. For a heart-stopping moment, nothing happened. Then, like dominoes falling, Krevnar ships across the system began to falter. On Earth, cheers erupted as the alien fleet's coordination crumbled. Without central command, the invaders fell into disarray. The tide of battle turned, with human forces pressing their advantage against the confused enemy. But the victory came at a heavy cost. Cities lay in ruins, millions had perished, and Earth's ecosystem had been severely damaged by the conflict. As the last Krevnar ship fell to Earth's now superior defenses, a somber mood settled over the planet. They had won, but at what price? In orbit, Professor Linar watched the aftermath with a heavy heart. "They did it," he murmured. "They actually defeated the Krevnar." Dr. Zira nodded, her luminescence dim with emotion. "But look at the destruction. Was it worth it?" As if in answer to her question, their sensors picked up a transmission being broadcast globally from the UN headquarters in New York, miraculously still standing. Dr. Emily Chen, battered but unbowed, addressed the world. "People of Earth, we have endured the greatest challenge our species has ever faced. We have looked into the abyss of extinction and pulled ourselves back from the brink. The cost has been unimaginably high, but we stand here today, united as never before. Our world is wounded, but not broken. And now, as we begin the long process of healing and rebuilding, we do so with the knowledge that we are not alone in the universe. Today we have earned our place among the stars. Today we look to the future not with fear, but with hope and determination. The war is over. Let us now forge a lasting peace, both here on Earth and with whatever other civilizations await us out there in the cosmos." As Chen's words echoed across the planet, Linar made a decision. "Prepare for atmospheric entry," he commanded his startled crew. "It's time we introduced ourselves properly." The silent watcher decloaked, descending toward the battered but unbroken planet below. Humanity had proven itself worthy of joining the galactic community, not through its capacity for violence, but through its indomitable spirit and its ability to unite in the face of overwhelming odds. As the ship touched down on the White House lawn, witnessed by millions via global broadcasts, Linar prepared to take humanity's first true steps into a larger universe. The joy they had found was not in war itself, but in overcoming the greatest challenge they had ever faced. Now that same determination would lead them to the stars. An unexpected alliance. The world held its breath as the sleek alien vessel touched down on the scorched grass of the White House lawn. News cameras from every corner of the globe focused on the ship's seamless hull, searching for any sign of movement. In the tense silence that followed, one could almost hear the collective heartbeat of humanity, a rhythm of apprehension and hope. Dr. Emily Chen stood at the forefront of the welcoming committee, her lab coat exchanged for a smart suit that couldn't quite hide the bandages beneath. Beside her, General Stone's hand rested uneasily on his sidearm, his weathered face a mask of caution. World leaders and scientific luminaries flanked them, presenting a united front to whatever emerged from the ship. With a soft hiss, a portal materialized in the vessel's side. A ramp extended, touching the Earth's soil with a gentleness that belied the ship's advanced technology. And then, they appeared. Professor Linar led the way, his three-eyed gaze taking in the assembled humans with a mixture of scientific curiosity and genuine warmth. Behind him, the diverse forms of his research team showcased the variety of life that awaited humanity among the stars. For a moment, no one moved. The silence was broken by a child's voice from somewhere in the crowd. "They look like the good aliens from my comics." A ripple of laughter broke the tension, and suddenly the air was filled with a cacophony of voices, questions, and exclamations. Dr. Chen stepped forward, her hand extended in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. "Welcome to Earth," she said, her voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. "We've been expecting you." Linar's mandibles clicked in what the humans would soon learn was a smile. "Greetings, people of Earth. We come in peace, and with great admiration for your species' remarkable resilience." As translators worked to convey the alien words to the global audience, Chen couldn't help but ask the question burning in everyone's minds. "You've been watching us, haven't you? The warning about the Krevnar, it came from you." Linar nodded, his antenna twitching slightly. "Yes, we were sent to observe your species after our initial contact went awry. We've been studying you, learning about your remarkable capacity for both creation and destruction. When we learned of the Krevnar threat, we felt compelled to warn you, despite our orders." General Stone stepped forward, his military bearing evident in every movement. "And why didn't you help us fight them off? You clearly have superior technology." Dr. Zura, her bioluminescent skin pulsing with emotion, answered, "It was not our place to interfere. You needed to prove yourselves worthy of joining the galactic community on your own terms, and you have done so magnificently." As the initial shock wore off, the real work began. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of diplomatic meetings, scientific exchanges, and cultural introductions. The Silent Watchers database was open to Earth's scientists, accelerating human understanding of the universe by centuries in a matter of days. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. As news of the alien presence spread, so did fear and suspicion. Conspiracy theories ran rampant, with some claiming the aliens were in league with the Krevnar, others insisting they were here to subjugate humanity in a more subtle way than outright invasion. In a town hall meeting broadcast worldwide, a citizen asked the question many were thinking: "How do we know we can trust you? How do we know you're not just here to exploit us now that we're weakened?" Linar's response was thoughtful. "Trust must be earned, on both sides. We have made mistakes in our approach to your species, and for that we apologize. But consider this: we possess technology far beyond your current capabilities. If exploitation were our goal, why would we openly reveal ourselves? Why share our knowledge?" He paused, his three eyes blinking in sequence. "The truth is, we need you as much as you need us. The Krevnar are not defeated, merely repelled. They will return, and when they do, they will threaten not just Earth, but the entire galactic peace we have worked so hard to maintain." This revelation sent shockwaves through human society. The idea that Earth's victory, hard-won as it was, might be temporary was difficult to accept, but it also ignited a new sense of purpose. Humanity had earned its place among the stars, and now it had a role to play in a much larger drama. As the days turned to weeks, and weeks to months, a remarkable transformation took place. The same ingenuity and determination that had allowed humanity to repel the Krevnar invasion was now turned towards rebuilding and advancing their civilization. Cities were reconstructed using a blend of human architecture and alien technology, creating structures that were both familiar and wonderfully strange. The environmental damage caused by the war was addressed with newly understood terraforming techniques, healing the planet faster than anyone had thought possible. But perhaps the most profound changes were happening on a cultural level. The knowledge that humanity was part of the larger galactic community sparked a renaissance in art, philosophy, and science. Musicians collaborated with alien composers, creating harmonies that had never been heard on Earth before. Philosophers grappled with new concepts of ethics and existence, brought by the knowledge of myriad alien cultures. And through it all, the threat of the Krevnar loomed. Earth's military, now working in concert with Galactic Alliance advisors, prepared for the possibility of another invasion. But this time, they would not be alone. 6 months after the Silent Watchers landing, a new ship touched down on the rebuilt landing pad at the United Nations headquarters. From it emerged High Counselor Genva, her energy form contained within an even more elaborate shell than before. "People of Earth," she addressed the assembled leaders, her words translated into every human language simultaneously. "Your valor in the face of the Krevnar threat has not gone unnoticed. Today I come bearing an invitation. The Galactic Council has voted, unanimously, to offer Earth full membership in the Galactic Alliance." The chamber erupted in cheers, but Genva raised a hand for silence. "However, this membership comes with great responsibility. The Krevnar threat grows, and they are not alone. There are other forces in our galaxy that view peaceful cooperation as weakness, that seek to dominate rather than coexist. Earth's unique perspective may be key to our survival. Dr. Chen, now serving as Earth's interim ambassador to the Galactic Alliance, stepped forward. What do you mean by our unique perspective, Counselor? Zhenva's form shimmered, a sign of what humans would learn to recognize as deep emotion. Your species possesses a duality that we have rarely encountered. You have the capacity for great violence, yes, but also for remarkable compassion. You find joy not in war itself, but in overcoming challenges, in pushing boundaries. This adaptability, this drive, combined with the wisdom and technology of the Galactic Alliance, may be our best hope against the darkness that threatens us all. The implications were staggering. Humanity, so recently on the brink of annihilation, was now being asked to play a crucial role in a galactic conflict. It was a heavy burden, but also an incredible opportunity. As the Council adjourned to discuss the terms of Earth's membership, Professor Linar found himself in a quiet corner with Dr. Chen and General Stone. I must confess, Linar said, his voice low, when we first began observing your species, many of us thought you too volatile, too unpredictable to join the galactic community. We feared your joy in confronting challenges might lead you to create conflict where none existed. General Stone chuckled ruefully. Can't say I blame you. We've not always been the best neighbors to each other, let alone to a new species. Dr. Chen nodded, but her eyes were bright with the possibilities the future held. But that's just it, isn't it? Our history, our struggles, they've prepared us for this moment. We've learned, time and again, that our greatest achievements come when we work together, when we channel our drive to overcome into creation rather than destruction. Linar's mandibles clicked in agreement. Precisely. And now, the galaxy needs that spirit more than ever. The Krevnar and their allies view the diversity of the Galactic Alliance as a weakness. They seek to impose uniformity, to crush any spark of resistance. But you humans, you thrive on diversity, on challenge, on the very idea of beating the odds. As they spoke, news of Earth's invitation to join the Galactic Alliance spread across the planet. In every nation, in every language, people debated the implications. There was fear, certainly. Fear of the unknown, fear of the responsibilities this new role would bring. But there was also hope, excitement, and a burning curiosity about what lay beyond the stars they had gazed at for so long. In laboratories and workshops around the world, human scientists worked alongside alien researchers, combining Earth's unique approach to problem-solving with the advanced knowledge of the Galactic Alliance. New technologies emerged at an astonishing pace, faster than light drives were refined. Energy shields were strengthened, and weapons were developed that could target the Krevnar's specific vulnerabilities. But it wasn't just in technology that humanity found its strength. Earth's diplomats, drawing on centuries of experience navigating complex international relations, proved remarkably adept at mediating disputes between alien races. Human artists and storytellers captured the imagination of the galaxy, their tales of triumph over adversity resonating with species that had known only peace for millennia. And when the Krevnar finally returned, nearly 2 years after their first invasion, they found not the weakened, primitive world they expected, but a planet transformed. Earth stood as a beacon of the Galactic Alliance, its orbit bristling with defenses that melded the best of human ingenuity with alien technology. The battle that followed was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Human fighters, their natural piloting skills enhanced by alien tech, danced through the void, confounding the rigid tactics of the Krevnar. On the ground, Earth's cities stood firm behind shields that had once seemed like science fiction, while a diverse force of human and alien defenders repelled any invaders that made it through. But it was more than just military might that turned the tide. Human hackers, working with alien AI systems, launched digital counterattacks that sowed chaos in the Krevnar fleet. Earth's environmental scientists, their knowledge expanded by galactic learning, weaponized the very atmosphere against the invaders, creating storms that scrambled their sensors and corroded their hulls. In the end, it was not a decisive military victory that ended the Krevnar threat, but a moment of connection. In the heat of battle, a human diplomat managed to open a channel to the Krevnar leadership. Drawing on humanity's long, painful history of conflict and reconciliation, she spoke not of defeat or surrender, but of the possibility of a different path. "You've seen our strength," she told the stunned Krevnar commander, her words translated by the most advanced systems the Galactic Alliance could provide. But strength isn't just about winning battles. True strength is found in diversity, in cooperation, in the ability to grow and change. Join us. Fight alongside us against the real enemies: ignorance, fear, the vastness of space itself. There are wonders out there beyond imagining, challenges worthy of both our species. Why waste our potential fighting each other when we could be exploring the universe together? It was a long shot, a desperate gamble born of humanity's unique ability to empathize even with an enemy. And against all odds, it worked. The Krevnar, a species that had known only conquest for generations, faced for the first time an enemy that offered not just defeat, but a new way of existing. The war ended not with a bang, but with a conversation. As human and Krevnar representatives sat down to negotiate, watched by an astounded galactic audience, Professor Linar turned to Dr. Chen with an expression of wonder. "You never cease to amaze me," he said. "Just when we think we understand humanity, you show us something new." Chen smiled, her eyes on the historic scene unfolding before them. "That's the joy of it, Professor. We're always amazed by ourselves, too. There's always another challenge, another frontier. And now, thanks to you and the Galactic Alliance, we have an entire universe to explore." As the first tentative steps towards peace with the Krevnar were taken, Earth celebrated. But it was a celebration tempered by the knowledge that this was just the beginning. There would be more challenges, more threats, more wonders waiting among the stars. Humanity had found its place in the galaxy, not as conquerors or as victims, but as innovators, mediators, and explorers. The joy they had once found in war was transformed into a joy of discovery, of pushing the boundaries of what was possible. And as the first joint human-alien expedition prepared to journey beyond the edges of known space, the spirit of Earth echoed across the cosmos. Whatever was out there, whatever challenges awaited, they would face it together, with courage, curiosity, and the unshakable belief that the greatest victories come not from dominating others, but from overcoming our own limitations. The universe, vast and mysterious, awaited, and humanity, no longer alone, was ready to embrace it.